Ladies and gentlemen, some way, somehow, these things keep coming out left and right, and almost weekly at this point. We have yet another handheld retro gaming console to review. We're gonna go check out the emulation on this, and then we'll come back over here and I'll give you some of my pros and cons about this console. And this is called the RG40XX V. And the console this reminds me of the most right away is the Miyoo Mini Plus. And that by far was my favorite small retro handheld gaming console. So as long as this essentially is just a bigger version of that, I guess, then we will be good to go. So right away, the very first thing you're gonna notice, and it looks very strange, I will admit, is this random ass little thumbstick right here. It's just so strange, so weird to me. In my head, I imagine it's the same thing as somebody being born with like a third nipple or something, because it's just there. But hopefully it works and serves a purpose. I will say right away, this thing in hand feels insanely freaking comfortable. By far the most comfortable out of any of these that I guess mimic a Game Boy. So it's just a personal preference, but me, I always turn off this LED light that are around the thumbsticks. I really don't mind it as bad, I guess, on this because this thumbstick is just so damn random that I guess that LED lights kind of make it feel like it serves a purpose there, but I'm still gonna end up turning it off. So if you've watched any of my previous reviews about any of these Anbernic consoles, this looks exactly the same operating system, same exact menu, and it has the same exact games. I'm just curious how good the emulation is on this because that is the most important question. And I gotta admit, right away, this thing looks fantastic. I am very, very impressed with this. Number one, the screen looks so damn good. Way, way better than I expected it to look. So I'm using the D-pad because that's what my brain wants to use. Let's actually try to use this little thumbstick right here. And yeah, I gotta admit, I don't think I like the way it looks, but from a practicality standpoint, this is the way you would want to play this. And we are playing a PSP game, so I gotta admit, man, I'm very, very surprised. This is a lot better than I was expecting. So now let's try Crazy Taxi, which is on the Dreamcast. I'm not sure if Crazy Taxi on the Dreamcast is more powerful than Ridge Racer on the PSP, but I feel like it might be a little stronger. It just seems like it would be a more powerful game. And this is gonna use these back buttons back here as well. So we got to shift, and let's pick somebody up.
Right here.
God, this game was so damn good. You know, I have to admit something. Wow, this is playing and looking amazing. I need to learn some new adjectives. I will admit, I just keep saying amazing and fantastic and great. But yeah, that's how I feel. I have to admit something though. When I was cycling through these games, I had no idea that, wait, I gotta back up. I had no idea that there was a Crazy Taxi 2. I don't know if I just missed that or something, but yeah, there's Crazy Taxi and Crazy Taxi 2. And now they're remaking Crazy Taxi, or they're rebooting it, and it's gonna be an open world game. I'm really not sure how I feel about that, but it's probably gonna be fun. Open world, I feel like, I don't know if that's warranted, but regardless, it's gonna be awesome to see that franchise come back. But this is the ultimate way to play this, in my opinion. I would love to play this handheld, and on this, I can play this handheld. And Crazy Taxi, I guess for a good reason, it's actually pretty expensive now. So now we're gonna try out SpiderMan on the PlayStation 1. And I'll admit, at the time, back when this first came out, I was pretty impressed by it. Replaying it now, it's really not as bad as I think some people make it out to be. All right, how do we do anything? We jump, and we died. How am I supposed to swing here? I can't remember. Man, that is so nostalgic seeing this loading screen. I remember playing this as a little kid and thinking, this is as good as it's ever gonna be. If I could see Spider-Man on the PS5 when I was a little kid, like the same quality, my head truly might have exploded. All right, let's go beat this guy up. Hey, what are you doing? Get over here. What the hell's wrong with you? You're just minding your business, but I'm gonna come over here and ruin your day for absolutely no reason.
Sorry about that.
Did Spider-Man ever stop to think maybe he's the bad guy? We've already tried out PSP, Dreamcast, and PlayStation 1. Let's just wrap it all up for good measure and go retro. Let's try out All Real Monsters for the Super Nintendo. This was one of my favorite cartoons when I was little. At first, it started to creep me out when I first watched it, and then I really started to enjoy it. What am I throwing here? Am I throwing trash or something? I have no idea. Yeah, this game is not great, but when I was a little kid, I would play anything like this just simply because I had a relationship with it. Like, one of my favorite games ever was playing Rugrats on PlayStation 1. That game was awful, but it just felt like I had an attachment to it.
So let's start with some pros, right? The first thing we need to talk about is all the buttons. They feel amazing. I would argue even better than my Switch. And I'm talking about these buttons right here and the D-pads. The thumbstick is just a Nintendo Switch thumbstick, but the buttons feel fantastic. So I'm going to compare this to all the other consoles that look more like a Game Boy, because that's what it's trying to emulate here, like that feel and style. And out of all of those consoles, this one feels the best so far. And a lot of that has to do with the size of the screen. The screen is 4 inches, but it looks and feels bigger than 4 inches. So 4 inches in this scenario is actually quite big. The most important question is the emulation. How do the games actually play? Well, you already seen that. They play perfectly. I had no issues whatsoever, and that was for every single console that I tested out, some on screen and some off screen last night when I was playing around with this. I didn't like it at first, but the thumbstick actually grew on me. It's nice to have this here, especially for some PSP games and some PS1 games, and I guess Nintendo 64 and Dreamcast. I don't mind using the D-pad, but it is nice to have this option here. Now another major thing to bring up is the price. And in my opinion, the price is great. This is only $85. But you know, over here on this channel, we can get it cheaper. So if you click my link below and use the promo code ROBOT at checkout, you're going to save an additional 10%. Now let's get into some cons, and we actually only have one. And the con that we have is actually a pro as well. You may say, Mr. Robot Joe, what the hell is going on here? Have you been huffing paint? I don't know. If they would just reverse the D-pad and a thumbstick, then that would just make way more sense, at least in my opinion. Because that's exactly how it is on the Switch. Thumbstick up here, D-pad down here. So it almost seems like the thumbstick was an afterthought. So you know we have to get it out of the way. Would I recommend this console? The short answer is yes, and the longer answer is hell yes. But it all comes down to personal preference on this one. If you were asking me which console that I would get that looks like a Game Boy, I would pick this one because this is the best one I have reviewed so far. Now I can't say there won't be better ones in the future, but for the time being, this is it. Now there's other consoles that kind of emulate more of like a PSP or Nintendo Switch shape, so it all comes down to personal preference. Do you want something that's more wide like that, or do you want something that's more in the Game Boy shape? It's all personal preference, regardless. What this console sets out to do, it does it damn well. So yes, I give it my stamp of approval. In the comments below, let me know your thoughts and opinions as always. Remember, if you want to save some money, click the link below and use code ROBOT at checkout and you will save an additional 10%. And if you can save money on video games, well, that's a great thing. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you could. I would really appreciate a follow. And you guys know me, I'll see you soon with a new video. Peace out.